this one thing about that I kept seeing in, I think, both of the websites. Probably I didn't have time to go into it, but what is open mind?
Oh, okay.
Is it-
My favorite topic. Okay,
Nice.
yeah, I was in, it was the beginning of 2020, actually ending of 2019, and I was
Mhm.
in my fifth year. And, being in IIIT Hyderabad, it kind of becomes like a bucket list thing that I have to do something in open source at some
Ah,
point
I
of
see.
time. And during my coursework and all, I couldn't do it. It was like that with the research was too much for me to manage. So I never applied or I never did open source during that time. But during fifth year, I had a little bit more time. So I started contributing to this open source organization, which is called OpenMind, which also works in privacy. A lot of it is differential privacy, some of it is homomorphic encryption, and a bunch of other privacy techniques. Um, so I was like, you know what? Let's apply for GSOC. And I fleshed out this long proposal. Like they had a bunch of proposals ready, but I was like, nope, not interested. I want to like pick my own project. So I wrote out this long proposal and uh, basically, by that time, I had already been contributing to their org for about 6 months, and
Mhm.
some of it was engineering, some of it was a decent part of it was actually research, because
Hmm.
there were many other people who were much better engineers than me, but I brought in this research perspective from the whole differential privacy independent studies, which they didn't have. So I could maybe educate them a little bit more that this is the better technique to use, or this mechanism is a better solution, or whatever, or how to adapt this mechanism to this new algorithm, which is not there in literature, things like that. So I was kind of contributing in the research front a little bit, and just mentorship and some social stuff and I really enjoyed that because it was the beginning of the pandemic and that was my main source of community and interacting
Yeah.
with people and just the social aspect. I was really missing that. So I applied for GSOC, waited a month for the results to come, and the day before the results were supposed to be announced, I get like a message from the head of the organization. He's like, maybe let's just get on a call. And I said, yeah, sure. And I was terrified. And and then he's like, we're not accepting your proposal for GSOC. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I not like I was really expecting it to, because there were like two
Get
slots for
accepted.
GSOC. Yeah, so I was like, okay, what are the chances, right? And then he's like, but instead, we're going to offer you a similar role with the same stipend, which will be a research engineer role. So rather than a
I
GSOC
see.
role, you do
I
a
see.
research engineer thing. And instead of 2 months, you're going to do it for 6 months. And the pay was not even Indian GSOC pay; it was US GSOC pay. So I was just thrilled, like, okay, this is amazing. I aimed for gold and I just found diamond.
Yeah.
And so then I did like a research project with OpenMind and a few researchers at OpenMind for about a year, which was it was so unique to me because I'd never really heard of research in open source. And I was so grateful that I got this other opportunity, which showed me this whole other side of differential privacy and how you apply it to, PyTorch and how you build like a privacy layer and how all of this kind of translates to federated learning and things like that. And so, yeah, that was a very, very strong experience for me because that it's kind of like working at a startup, right? You could be asked to do anything if you're interested. So I got to, give talks, which is how you found that because I got all those contacts through open source who pushed me to give talks publicly. I got to write like a few pages in a chapter of a book that was published. I got to publish these papers with 20 other authors, got to interact with like researchers all around the world, Harvard. I got to interact with people in policy at the White House, at a bunch of places. And obviously, I got to do like this really interesting work, contribute to this huge GitHub repository, learn skills like Docker, which I would have never bothered to on my own. And so, um, yeah, so it was just like a very, very nice, organic, and fun time in my life where in terms of the work, I just didn't know what was coming next, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that that is probably like one thing that really surprised me, that I invested in something out of interest, and it just gave me back like 200 times of what I thought I could get. So yeah, highly, I'm like in like low key in love with the open source, and especially open mind, and just the crazy things you see there, that you'll meet the most experienced senior developers, who've been working for 20 years or something, and they will be so patient with you and explaining the stupidest doubts that you have. So that was just like a really nice roller coaster experience for me. Yeah,
See, this segment, just the moment I mentioned open mind and then you started talking about it, I could see like the pure joy, and
Yeah. So
like
true.
the
So true.
enthusiasm, the passion. It is like obvious. Like before this, like before the 1 hour 30 minute mark, Kritika, and then 1 hour 30 minute mark, Kritika. This is like a
I know.
completely
I
almost
think
a different
there's
person.
a flip that was switched the moment you said art, and then after that,
Switch that
open
was
mind.
flipped.
So
But
yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
awesome,
this is
awesome.
really nice. Totally not
Actually,
expecting this, but
not
very
many
nice.
people. Yeah, not many people would have had such a well-rounded experience in open source because their aim is something very different, right? And
Right.
to be honest, even I have rarely found research like roles
Yeah.
as such in open source. So yeah, it's a rare opportunity and awesome.
Yeah,
You made the best
yeah.
of
This
it.
is something that I learned about now. To be honest, the research in open source bit, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually, like this thing is also a little close to my heart.